Well, good evening, everybody. This is Ranty back with another video. This time, again, we're bringing back Brian to do a presentation. He's revising his sun speeds video, and he's going to be going over that. But in the meantime, I'm just going to talk a little bit about why I'm not able to do this live. This is a premiere. So unfortunately, I'm not able to do it live because I can't stream right at this moment. The reason being, essentially the internet connection just isn't good enough at the time being. I changed from one provider to another, and unfortunately the package that I'm on is absolutely not good enough at all. So I'm hoping that'll be revised this week. I have been in touch with them, so fingers crossed we can get things back to normal very quickly, very soon. So yeah, this will be a presentation by Brian. We'll just check his mic and make sure everything's coming through. Brian, are you there?
Hello, Randy. Can you hear me?
I can. How are you?
I'm good. And yourself?
Yeah, not too bad.
Just the internet problem. That's all, isn't it?
That's basically it. You know the script. The script.
Yeah. It'll be sorted soon anyway, so fine.
Yeah, I mean, I've been floating around a little bit. I've been on Nathan's a couple of times, and just basically keeping myself busy a little bit. But to be fair, I've actually enjoyed the break. I have to say, even though I went on a little break myself, not to Loch Ness, not yet, anyway. But I did actually go away for a little break, and then when I came back, obviously the internet isn't working correct, so. A couple of weeks off, it's done me good. I'm feeling not as run down as I have been anyway, that's for sure. How about you?
I'm not doing too bad. I'm not doing too bad. You sound like you're actually you have more pep. You're not gonna. You
Yeah.
sound like your voice is actually moving faster. You're not gonna.
Ready to go, that's what it is. Ready
Yeah.
to go.
Yeah.
So how we're going to run this today, obviously, we're going to let you do the presentation. I'll do what I normally do, which is just basically let you run through the presentation so you can do it from start to finish. And yeah, unfortunately there won't be any questions from the audience, but I'm sure, because I do know that you participate in the actual chats afterwards. So after the video's uploaded, if anyone wants to say anything or they've got a comment that they need to make, I'm sure if they leave it in the comment section after the video is uploaded, then you will actually get back to them on that point, because I know that you do that.
Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, no hassles. Yeah, I'll take that responsibility. How about us?
Good stuff. Right, well, without further ado, I'll put myself on mute and I will let you carry on. So
Okay.
let me just
Okay.
get that sorted over there. Let's get this sorted here. Let me transition you across. Right, you're good to go, Brian.
Okay, Randy, I'll talk to you soon then. If you want to ask anything yourself during it, feel free to step in and ask.
Yeah, no problem. Well, I'll just do what I normally do, which is just let you do your own thing.
Okay, that's fine.
All right.
Talk to you soon. Okay, this is a revision of my last presentation on Ranties there about 2 weeks ago. About the sunrise speeds. It's not the speed of the sun, but the sunrise speeds across the Tropic of Cancer on June the 21st, across the equator on the equinoxes, and across the Tropic of Capricorn on December 21st. So the two solstices and the equinoxes. This is due to people asking me about how come I only use two locations. It's mainly due to a guy who's on the board side called Joe Kovacs, who was communicating with me through YouTube, and he was saying he was getting different final readings from using extra locations. CrowXC also mentioned it in the chat of the last, during the side chat of the last one I did, of the original sunrise speeds one, but he didn't elaborate on it. And what I saw, he gave a couple of measurements, but they didn't make any sense to me. They were like 23 kilometers. I wasn't an hour or something. I don't know what he meant. Maybe he might clarify that. But Joe Kovacs, this man Joe Kovacs, he was very respectful to me, and he was He just put a few things towards me about having extra places and dealing with also adding in the elevation issue, which Adam Meakin said as a question to me during the last presentation. So just to do that and to honour that rather than trying to run with the last presentation, I'm going to honour that. And Joe Kovacs was correct that there is some differences when you add in extra places, but the main difference was that between the Tropic of Cancer and the equator, as there was a 40-mile-an-hour difference in the 40, I think it was around 40 miles an hour difference between the Tropic of Cancer and the equator, with the Tropic of Cancer slightly faster than the equator in sunray speeds in the original presentation. But when I add in extra places, it's the equator that's slightly faster than the Tropic of Cancer. You're going to see some stupid pop-ups up here. I pressed, instead of pressing on block, I pressed on allow on something when I wasn't watching it, and there's a load of stupid pop-ups popping up, so don't worry about it, just ignore them. So so I'll go through this anyway, and a few extra bits that I've found while I was adding extra places that are kind of half connected, half not connected to it at the end. Well, they are connected to it up to a point at the end, and I'll run through them as well, but they'll be short enough. Okay, so the revised sunrise speeds, this is for June the 21st solstice across the Tropic of Cancer. Okay, so I did have Riyadh and Medina originally, just those two places, but I added in Dubai and Doha. So Dubai is furthest east and Medina is furthest west. So we'll be going Dubai, the sunrise will be going Dubai, Doha, Riyadh, Medina. Dubai has a latitude of 25.07 and an elevation of 3 meters above sea level. Doha has a latitude of 25.28 and an elevation of 13 meters. So it's good. I tried to get them as close as possible as I could to their same elevation, and so these two are very similar. There's only 10 meters in between them in elevation, and then the next one was Riyadh, which I used the last time. Its latitude is 24.6 and the elevation is 612 meters above sea level. Then there's Medina, which is the furthest west, which is 24.5 elevation and 608 meters above sea level. So these two were very close. There's only 4 meters, or supposedly 4 meters in sea level difference between Riyadh and Medina, and there's 10 meters between Dubai and Doha. So the biggest difference is going to be from Doha to Riyadh, because there's only 13 meters as opposed to 612 meters. Okay, so Dubai to Doha distance is 235 air miles. Doha to Riyadh distance is 302 air miles, and Riyadh to Medina is a distance of 447 air miles. The full distance from east to west, if I added them together, is 984. The official distance from Dubai to Riyadh is 983 miles. So sunrise speed on the 21st of June solstice. Dubai is 5:30 a.m. on the 21st of June sunrise. That's 1 hour ahead of Doha. Doha is 1 hour ahead of Doha. Sorry. So Dubai to Doha sunrise speed is distance divided by time, which is 235 air miles by 74 minutes. Okay, Doha is 4:44 a.m. Sunrise speed, which equals 3.175 miles per minute. Multiplied by 60 is 190 miles per hour. Okay, and there's only 10 meters of difference in elevation between those two. Okay, Doha then is 4:44 a.m. There's no time difference with Riyadh. Doha to Riyadh sunrise speed, distance divided by time, is 302 air miles by 21 minutes, which is 14.380 miles per minute. Multiplied by 60 minutes is 862 miles per hour. Then Riyadh then is 5:05 is a sunrise, and there's no time difference with Medina. Riyadh to Medina sunrise speed equals distance divided by time, which is 447 air miles by 30 minutes, which equals 14.9 miles per minute. multiplied by 60 is 894 miles per hour. Medina is sunrise at 5:35 a.m., 1 hour behind Dubai. So the full east-west sunrise speed is distance divided by time, 984 air miles by 65 minutes. So it's a 65 minutes from the time the sun rises in Doha before it rises in Medina. So 984 air miles by 65 minutes is 15.138 miles per minute. Multiplied by 60 minutes is 908 miles per hour. So the average sunrise speed from Dubai to Medina, I averaged this in 3 different ways. I averaged this in 3 different ways. First of all, I took the least amount of miles per minute, which was 190, which was there from Dubai to Doha, and the most amount, which was 908 miles per hour. Sorry, not 908, 894. And what I did was I took the distance, the difference between those two, and then I halved it, and I added half of the distance to half of the distance to the 190 miles per hour. So the average sunrise speed was 934.5 miles per hour. Then I did another average. I can't actually remember how I did the second one, but the third one is what I did is I took the 3 differences and added them together. This is a kind of a basic way of the 3 here. I never remember what I did. I took the 3 here, these 3 here, and added them together, and then I divided them by 3. That's kind of a basic way of getting an average, and I got 648.6 miles per hour. Then I did the same thing, and I added in the full east-to-west sunrise speed of 908 miles per hour. So I added all 4 together and divided that by 4, and I got 713.5 miles per hour. Just another way of getting an average. So this here, the way I did this, this one here, I don't know which one is the best way to get an average of it. So I did the 3 of them for each one of the Tropic of Cancer, the equinoxes on the equator, and the Tropic of Capricorn. I'm not sure which is the best way to get an average of it, but I did 3 of them. So maybe an average between the 3 of them would be the best way to go about that. So on to the September 23rd equinox. The September 23rd equinox and the March 21st equinox, they basically work out exactly the same, but I'll read through them anyway. So Nairobi latitude, I did Nairobi to Entebbe, Entebbe to Kisangani, excuse me, and Kisangani to Libreville. Okay, so Nairobi's latitude is 1.29 south. Elevation is 1,795 meters above sea level. Entebbe is 0.05 elevation at the equator, and its elevation is 1,180. Kisangani, its latitude is 0.51 elevation, and its latitude, and its elevation is 447 meters. Libreville, its latitude is 0.39 at the equator, and its elevation is 8 meters. So Libreville is very different from the other 3. Obviously, there's very little. There's a massive difference in elevation. There's only 8 meters in Libreville. So Nairobi to Entebbe distance is 316 miles. Entebbe to Kisangani distance is 502 miles. Kisangani to Libreville distance is 946 miles. Full distance from east to west, if you add them all together, it's 1,764. It's officially from Nairobi to Libreville, officially it's 1,896. So there's a deficit of 132 miles as opposed to adding them together, as opposed to what they give you as an official air miles. I don't know what that's about, because if you add those 3 together, the air mile distance between those 3 routes added together is 1,764, but the official distance is 1,896. As I said, there's 132 miles of a deficit. Why that is, I don't know. But I just went with the official, if I remember right. So sunrise on the 23rd of September equinox. Right? So east to west from Nairobi, it's 6:22 in the morning. There's no time difference with Entebbe. So Nairobi to Entebbe sunrise speed is distance divided by time. So 316 air miles by 17 minutes. So it takes 17 minutes for the sunrise to go from Nairobi to Entebbe equals 18.588 miles per minute. Multiplied by 16 is 1,115 miles per hour. Entebbe is 6:39 a.m., 1 hour ahead of Kisangani. So Entebbe to Kisangani sunrise speed equals distance divided by time. It's 502 air miles by 29 minutes, which is 17.310 miles per minute. Multiplied by 60 minutes is 1,038 miles per hour. Kisangani is 6:08 a.m., 1 hour ahead of Libreville. Kisangani to Libreville sunrise speed equals distance divided by time. 946 air miles by 63 minutes is 15.015 miles per minute. Multiplied by 60 minutes is 900 miles per hour even. And Libreville's sunrise is at 6:11 a.m. in the morning, 2 hours behind, and it's 2 hours behind Nairobi, which is in the east. So from 2 hours after Nairobi's sunrise, Libreville gets sunrise across the equator on the equinoxes. So east to west, from east to west sunrise speed, distance divided by time is 1,896 air miles by 109 minutes. So that's 17.394 miles per minute multiplied by 60 minutes, which is 1,043 miles per hour. The average sunrise speed so that's like this here is 1,043 miles per hour, that's the full distance if you were to go from Nairobi to Libreville, and that is the speed of the sunrise if you take in those two places and the distance between them and the time it takes for the sunrise to go from one to the other. So the average sunrise speed from Nairobi to Libreville, the first way was the way I said earlier, where I took the smallest, which was, I think it was 900 miles per hour, and it was 115 miles per hour and 900 miles per hour. And what I did was I took the deficit between those two places and I cut it in half, then added half that deficit to the 900 miles per hour. So that works out at 971 miles per hour. And then I took the three distances, miles per hour, for the distances of 1,115 miles per hour, 1,038 miles per hour, and 900 miles per hour. And I got an average of them of 1,017 miles per hour. And then I did the same thing again, but I added in the average, I did the same thing again, but added in the 1,043 miles per hour that I was after getting from a full east to west, the full east to west distance of 1,896. And that average is 1,024 miles per hour. But as I said earlier, maybe the best way to get a total average is to maybe add the three of them together and then divide them by 3. Maybe then you get a total better average. But I didn't want to go that far into it. I said if I give people this, if they want to do that, then they can. But there's the 3 different averages. Now on to the March 21st. This is actually the same because it's the same places. And it actually works out exactly the same. So at the equinoxes, everything works out exactly the same for both equinoxes. So the sunrises are no different. It's 1,115 for Nairobi to Entebbe. Entebbe to Kisangani is 1,038. Kisangani to Libreville is 900, and then the full east to west sunrise speed is 1,043 again. So the averages work out the same. So there's no difference whatsoever for the two. There's no difference whatsoever in the two equinoxes. They work out exactly the same. Well, the sun is doing exactly the same. It's all the sunrise speeds and everything is working out exactly the same for both equinoxes. Not the solstices, but for the equinoxes, yes. So when the sun is at equinox, going over the equator in both September and March, there is no difference in the sunrise speeds for places across that. So the sun is behaving exactly the same both those times. So now on to the December 21st solstice. So for this, I added in Gabroni and Curitiba. I had Asunción and Salta. I had a Curitiba and Asunción first. I added in Gabroni and Salta. Okay, so just to go back here, what I added in here was actually I had Nairobi to Libreville, but I added it in Tebe and Kisangani for the equinoxes. I forgot to say that earlier. Okay, so Gabroni is in Africa, in southern Africa. Curitiba, Asunción, and Salta are all in South America. So Gabroni latitude is 24.62. Its elevation is 1,014 meters. Curitiba's latitude is 25.43, an elevation of 924 meters. Asunción has a latitude of 25.26 and an elevation of 43 meters. And Salta has a latitude of 24.79 and an elevation of 1,183 meters. So Gabroni to Curitiba distance is 4,633. Curitiba to Asunción distance is 522 miles, air miles, and Asunción to Salta distance is 488 miles. So full distance from east to west added is 5,643. So if you add those three together, you get 5,643. The official distance is 5,608. So there's a deficit of 35 miles, air miles, for whatever reason. But that's not too severe. The last one for the equinox, there was a difference of 130 miles or something like that. I think that was for the equinox. So that was why there's those differences, I don't know. I know there might be they might be measuring from one part of the city to another or something like that. And you could say, okay, maybe 35 miles might, I don't know, 35 miles is a bit of a distance. At a push, you could say maybe that's the reason why they're not measuring from the exact same parts to the exact same parts. But 130 miles seems to be a bit excessive. I don't know what that's about in the last one. I think it was in the equinox. Just go back up there again. Was it in the equinox? Just to make sure. Yeah, 132 miles of a deficit for the equinox. I don't know why that is. I don't know what that's about, but that's a bit strange. But anyway, to keep this going. Okay, so after doing the full distance east to west at 5643, add an official at 5608. So sunrise speed, sunrise on the 24th of December equinox. Gabroni is the sunrise at 5:24 a.m. and it's 5:24 a.m. and it's 5 hours ahead of Curitiba. So Gabroni to Curitiba is sunrise speed, distance divided by time, is 4,633 air miles by 299 minutes, which is 15.494 miles per minute. Multiplied by 60 minutes is 924 miles per hour. So Curitiba is 5:23 a.m. and 1 hour ahead of Asunción. So Curitiba to Asunción sunrise speed, distance divided by time is 522 air miles divided by 94 minutes is 5.553 miles per minute. Multiplied by 60 minutes is 333.191 miles per hour. Asunción to Salta sunrise speed is distance divided by time, 488 air miles by 92 minutes, which is 5.304 miles per minute. Multiplied by 60 is 318 miles per hour. And Salta then, Salta's 6:29 a.m. is its sunrise. Now, take note, I have behind here and ahead here. Right, I have this in red and this in orange. That'll come in. That'll be important later in something else in this presentation. Something I found. Full east to west sunrise speed. So distance divided by time is 5,608 air miles by 425 minutes, equals 13.195 miles per minute. Multiplied by 60 minutes is 791 miles per hour. So the average sunrise speed, to average the sunrise speeds, the first way was when I took the two greatest differences, which was the 929 and the 318. So I took the difference between those two, and I halved it and added to the 318, and I got 623.5 miles per hour. The second way was I added the 929 miles per hour, the 333.191 miles per hour, and the 318 miles per hour, and I divided them by 3, which is a basic way of getting an average, and that came out at 526.6 miles per hour. And then I added those 3, and I added in the 791 miles per hour for the full east to west, and I divided that by 4, and I got 592.75. So before I go further, I just want to go back up to the very top and to the end here. Okay, so what you'll notice is on the averages, there is a higher average as we go on through on the 21st of June. There's a higher average sunrise speed in general, and I'll be at another place to all these a little bit later. But there's a higher average sunrise speed of 934.5, 648.6, and 713.5 on the 21st of June than there is on the 21st of December. As you can see, these are a good bit below that, at 623.5, 526.6, 592.75. So how it's working out is the equator seems to have the fastest sunrise speed at equinoxes. At equinoxes, this sunrise speed at the equator at both equinoxes is faster than any of the solstices, but the June solstice, when the sun is over the Tropic of Cancer, has a faster sunrise speed than the December solstice when the sun is over the Tropic of Capricorn. Okay, so the average elevation calculations. Dubai, its elevation, there was Dubai's at an elevation of 3 meters. Doha 13 meters, Riyadh of 612 meters, and Medina 608 meters. So there was an average height above sea level of 309 meters. Okay, so I just added them and divided them by 4. For the September and March equinoxes, Nairobi is 1,795 meters above sea level, Entebbe is 1,180 meters above sea level, and Kisangani is 447 meters above sea level, and Libreville is 8 meters above sea level. Added them together and divided by 4, I got 857.5 meters average. So there's an average elevation across the equator of the places I chose of 557.5 meters average. For across the Tropic of Capricorn, we have 1,014 meters for Gaborone, 924 meters for Curitiba, 43 meters for Asunción, and Salta is 1,183 meters. So adding them together and dividing by 4 is 791 meters average. Okay, so they're the averages for the elevation, because people are asking about elevation, and I'm going to go on to further something I did for that now in a minute. So these are the extra calculations. Okay, so I did a calculation for an extra calculation for the Tropic of Cancer, the equator. For the Tropic of Cancer, June 21st. For the equator on the equinoxes, and for the Tropic of Capricorn on the December 21st. And what I did was I did these with the intent of making sure that there was a very, very close elevation. So if anyone wants to wonder if elevation is connected to it, this will kind of disprove that. So what I did was I used Kolkata and Muscat. So Kolkata has a latitude of 22.56 elevation, is at 11 meters. On the 21st of June, the sunrise is 4:53 a.m. in the morning. Muscat has a latitude of 23.61 and its elevation is 7 meters. So on the 21st of June, sunrise is 5:21 a.m. in the morning. So the air mile distance between those two, between Kolkata and Muscat, is 1,896 miles. Kolkata is 1 hour and 30 minutes ahead of Muscat. On the equator, Manado, its latitude is 1.48 meters elevation, 1.48 latitude. Its elevation is 10 meters. Its sunrise on the 23rd of September is 5:30 a.m. and on the 21st of March is 5:44 a.m. Singapore is latitude 1.35 elevation, is 15 meters. So I keep on saying I keep on saying 1.35 elevation. It's latitude 1.35 and its elevation is 15 meters. The 23rd of September sunrise is 6:54 a.m. 21st of March sunrise is 7:08 a.m. and its air mile distance is 1,453 air miles. And there's no time difference between Manado and Singapore. Now I want to get back to that a bit later because there's something that's a bit strange there. So Tropic of Capricorn, Carnarvon in Western Australia is latitude of 24.88 and its elevation is only 4 meters. And on the 21st of December, sunrise is 5:33 in the morning. I didn't put in the AM. And Manakara, then which is in Madagascar, if I remember right, its latitude is 22.14 and its elevation is 10 meters. Okay, it's 21st of December, sunrise is 5:01 in the morning, and its air mile distance between the two places is 4,120 miles. So Carnarvon is 5 hours ahead of Manakara in time. So, so Tropic of Cancer, Kolkata to Muscat, 4 meters elevation difference. Distance divided by time is 1,896 miles divided by 118 minutes. So that equals a 16.067 miles per minute multiplied by 60 is 964 miles per hour. Sunrise speed on the 21st of June solstice is 964 miles per hour. Average for June solstice is 190 miles per hour. Sorry, average for June solstice is, I'm getting an average here from, adding in the other speeds that I got earlier. So these are the 3 other speeds. And this will be the Kolkata to Muscat is 964. So these 3 speeds are from starting Dubai to Doha, Doha to Riyadh, and Riyadh to Medina. So I'm adding these with this one, which comes to 2,910 divided by 4 is 727.5 miles per hour. So there's an average if you added in that extra one from Kolkata to Muscat to Muscat. If you add that in with the other three distances I got across the Middle East, you would get an average sunrise speed of 727.5 miles per hour. The equator is from Manado to Singapore. There's a 5 meters elevation difference. Distance divided by time is 1,453 miles divided by 84 minutes is 17.296 miles per minute. Multiplied by 60 is 1,037 miles per hour. Sunrise speed on the 23rd of September equinox, the distance divided by time is 1,453 miles divided by 84 minutes, which works out at 17.296 miles per minute. Multiplied by 60 is 1,034 miles per hour. Again, even with the extra place, the equinoxes are both exactly identical. So there's both of them have 1,037 miles per hour, even with 4 places, with 4 different locations. Sunrise speed on the 21st of March equinox is 1,037 miles per hour. The average, adding all 3 places from before, adding all 3 places from before, adding in across Africa, you had 1,115 miles per hour, the 1,038 miles per hour, the 900 miles per hour, and now the 1,037 miles per hour. So the other 3 from the previous tests or data I had added to this as well gives an average of 1,022.5. That's the average, 1,022.5 miles per hour. So the Tropic of both of them are the same, so there's no need to do it twice. They're both the same, both for both equinoxes. The Tropic of Capricorn, Carnarvon to Manakara, has a 6 meters elevation difference. So distance divided by time is 4,120 miles divided by 268 minutes, which works out at 15.373 miles per minute, multiplied by 60 equals 922 miles per hour. So when I add all these together, I get 929 miles per hour, 333 miles per hour, 318 miles per hour, and 922 miles per hour, which gives us an average of 625.5 miles per hour. So, yeah, averages conclusion, right? So the averages for, I didn't know if I was at the button to say, averages for the June solstice is 190 miles per hour, 862 miles per hour, 894 miles per hour, and 964 miles per hour, which is 2,910 divided by 4, which is 727.5 miles per hour. So 727.5 miles per hour average sunrise speed multiplied by 24 hours is multiplied by 24 hours is 17.460 miles. I can't really remember what I was putting. Why did I multiply that by 24 hours? Anyway, don't mind that. I'll remember why I did that in a minute. So 727.5 miles per hour is the average speed using 4 places across on the June the 21st solstice across the Tropic of Cancer. So the average for the equinox is 1,115 miles per hour, 1,038 miles per hour, 900 miles per hour, and 1,037 miles per hour, which equals an average of 1,022.5 miles per hour. So the average speed across the equinoxes with 4 different locations is 1,022.5 miles per hour. And the average for the December, solstice is 929 miles per hour, 333 miles per hour, 318 miles per hour, and 922 miles per hour. And its average is 625.5 miles per hour. So 625.5 miles per hour is the average with 4 places across, spanning from southern Africa and right across to and across east to west across South America. There's an average speed of 625.5 miles per hour. I can't remember why average sunrise speed multiplied by 24. I had something. I did this a few days ago, and I did go through so many calculations, and I'm making several different presentations at once, and also doing other things to do with flat Earth. And now I can't remember what I meant by this. But anyway, it might come back to me. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So subtraction averages. So 24 miles. Let's see, miles deficit between the June solstice and Equinox sunrise speed. 17.640 miles subtracted from 24,400 miles. 17. Hang on a second now. I'll go back up here. Alright. Now we get it. Right, which is multiplied by 24 hours, 17,000. Yeah, now I think I know what I was up to now. 17,000. So that was multiplied by. Now I get it was down. So that's the average miles per hour. Sorry, now I get it was down. That's the average miles per hour. So an average of that is 17,460 miles. Miles covered across. Now I remember. Sorry. As I said, I go through so many different things that I end up forgetting what I did do and why I did them. Is a daily occurrence with me. So 727.5 miles per hour across the Tropic of Cancer on the June solstice is the average miles per hour. So if I multiply that by 24 hours, going at that speed as an average, there'd be an average distance covered of 17,460 miles. So for the equinoxes, the average is 1,022.5 miles per hour. And going at that, as sunrises at that average speed, the sunrise should cover in 24 hours 24,540 miles. And so for the December solstice, there's an average of 625.5 miles per hour. Average sunrise speed multiplied by 24 hours will be 15,012. So the sunrise should, going at an average sunrise speed, should cover 15,012 miles across the. Although that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. I can't remember exactly why. I had some other reason for doing that, but it don't matter. 15,012 miles across the Tropic of Capricorn on the December solstice. So then I went subtracting things. So 17,460 miles subtracted from 24,540 miles was a deficit of 7,080 mile deficit between the June solstice and the equinox sunrise speed. Then the 15,012 miles subtracted from 24,540 miles leaves a deficit of 9,528 mile average deficit. So that's 9,528 mile average deficit between the December solstice and equinox sunrise speed. The 15,012 miles subtracted from the 17,460 miles equals 2,446 mile average deficit between the June solstice and sunrise and December solstice sunrise speed. So if you multiply them by 24 hours, although they're all averages, and it's not the speed of the sun, it's sunrise speed. And sunrise speed, my argument here is sunrise speed should never change. If you look at the globe model, the sunrise speed should never ever change, regardless of whether you're in northern summer, you're in summer over the equator, or in the southern summer. It should never change, because I've heard Todi and some others talking about in the chat in the last presentation, talking about the Kepler's analemma. But the analemma has no bearing on the speed of the sunrise on the globe, because the globe moves 360 degrees, turns supposedly would turn at 360 degrees every 24 hours. So every 24 hours it has turned a full 360 degrees. So it has to turn at an average rate. And also in the globe model, there are supposed to be parallel rays of sunlight. So this is the thing, and this is the claim to explain why there's a 4,800,000 kilometer difference between the northern summer and the southern summer as far as closeness to the sun. So the claim is we're 4,800,000 kilometers further from the sun in the northern summer, and 4,800,000 kilometers closer to the sun in the southern summer. Now, regardless of what you think of that, it's explained that the reason on the globe model, it's explained that the reason that the north still has a summer, even though we're 4,800,000 kilometers further from the sun, we still have a summer, is because of the rays of the sun, the fact that they are supposedly parallel rays and that they hit the earth the exact same way. So the angle to the sun doesn't matter, because the globe is constantly on a 23.5 degree tilt. So the tilt stays exactly the same, and the rotation speed stays exactly the same in that model. In Kepler's analemma, the one thing that changes is the distance to the sun. It's an elliptical offset orbit in Kepler's analemma. So what it is that the Earth gets closer to the sun in the southern summer around the December solstice, and further away from the sun. And that's when it's at its closest to the sun, and the Earth is supposedly at its furthest from the sun, and at the June solstice on the 21st of June. So the thing is that how they explain how we can get a summer in the north, even though we're 4,800,000 kilometers further from the sun, is because of the fact that we have parallel rays hitting the Earth, and the Earth is also then, the northern part of the Earth is tilted towards the sun. Now the Earth is turning at the same speed all day, every day in that model. It doesn't change. Otherwise, we would have sunrises and sunsets at all kinds of crazy times. Because the reason that the sun rises and sets on the globe model is because of the rotation of the globe, and the reason that we have different seasons is down to the offset elliptical orbit of the sun and the fact we have a constant 23.5 degree tilt. But the problem is, what I'm showing here, these are all just averages, but what I'm showing here is there is a difference in sunrise speeds across the Tropic of Cancer on the June solstice, across the equator at the equinoxes, and across the Tropic of Capricorn at the December solstice. Now, this can't happen on the globe. It can't happen with Kepler's analemma, and there's other reasons why Kepler's analemma, well, there's a lot of other reasons why Kepler's analemma, it does not work anyway. But what I'm working on here is the sunrise speeds. The sunrise speed has to be constant on the globe model, because otherwise that would mean the globe is slowing down and speeding up its rotation. Okay, now that might be where they start going with this. I don't know, but if they decide, they might just people on the globe side might decide to just ignore this. I don't know, but if the rotation has to be exactly the same for it to rotate a full 360 degrees every 24 hours, then there can't be a difference in sunrise speeds. It can't be. Angles have nothing to do with it because supposedly the rays from the sun are supposedly parallel. Now, I don't believe they're parallel, but in that model, they're supposedly parallel, and they come from 93 million miles away. So, yes, the sun will change its position in the sky, but its position in the sky across the Tropic of Cancer. The Tropic of Cancer is only there because the sun is in the astrological sign of Cancer, and that's why they call it the Tropic of Cancer, because at that time of year the sun is circling around the Tropic of Cancer. The equinoxes are over the equator line, and the Tropic of Capricorn is named because the sun is in the astrological sign of Capricorn. That's why it's called that, and the sun is going around, or let's just say the most sun at that time of year is hitting the Tropic of Capricorn. So angles have nothing to do with it, because these three dates, these 3 times a year, the Tropic of Cancer on the June solstice, the equinoxes across the equator, and the Tropic of Capricorn on the December solstice. Those 3 times, the sun is hitting the Earth in the exact same way. In the globe model, it's doing the exact same thing. It's just 2 opposite, like the solstices from the June solstice to the December solstice are like mirror opposites, or supposedly mirror opposites of each other. Now, adding in the 24 hours thing doesn't really make much of a sense. I just wanted to have a way. It doesn't matter, the whole 24-hour thing just doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, but I wanted to have a way where it could show a larger average between the 2 solstices, as opposed to just kind of the basic average of what there was. Like, it was, the basic average was 527.5 was the basic average for the June solstice, and 625.5 for the December solstice. So there's an average hourly rate of an extra 100 mile an hour of 100 odd mile an hour of a sunrise speed on average across at the June solstice, more than there is on the December solstice. Now, this doesn't make any sense. These speeds here, the average speeds, don't make any sense on the globe, because you have parallel rays. Each one of these are faced directly towards the sun at that exact time of year. So that the solstices, my mouth was going dry, are exactly the same. The June and December solstice, they're supposedly exactly the same. They're supposed to be mirror opposites of each other. And the equinoxes are no different either. They are happening over the equator. So it doesn't matter, because at this time of year, the equator is faced towards the sun. At this time of year, the Tropic of Cancer is faced towards the sun. And at this time of year, the Tropic of Capricorn is faced towards the sun. So there was no reason why we should have slower sunrise speeds, because the globe is supposed to be turning at the same exact rate every day without fail. That's part of the model. But yet we have these crazy average sunrise speeds. And some of them are like, I know elevation might come into it up to a point, but But if you look up at these ones, like these 2 here, this one, okay, yeah, it's way less than this one. But these 3 here are similar. Yet I know this one here has a much lower elevation than these 2. So I know it's a bit strange, but it's the only way to kind of, like, it's one of the ways I wanted to show a way of disproving that there is rotation. And this, in my opinion, goes a long way towards doing that, simply because you can't have rotation moving at different rates, because otherwise a day wouldn't be 24 hours all the time. So that doesn't work. Now, I'll probably get I might get some comeback for this, or I might get ignored. But either way, this is the data that I collected. And it's not made up by me. I tried my best to make sure all the mathematics are done correctly, and as simply as possible, so that anyone can do them. There's only adding, subtracting, dividing, and multiplying. I didn't use anything else, and I never ever do. So anybody can do this. You don't even need to have anything more than primary school level mathematics to do this. So I'll go on. and the subtraction, the averages. There was an average. Where we go? Yeah, that was the subtraction averages, where I just subtracted after multiplying them all by 24 hours. I subtracted the averages just to show a difference. So there's actually a difference in speeds over a 24-hour period. There's a difference between the two solstices of 2,448 miles. You know, if you're talking about the same miles per hour, if the sun rises was happening at the same time, there's a 2,448 miles per hour of a difference. So that's a bit of a difference for those two tropics. It shouldn't be that way. Like, people might argue, well, the equator might be different than the other two or whatever, but that still doesn't make any sense. But I can understand someone making that argument, but it doesn't make any sense if you get all the factors of the globe model into account. Then that doesn't make any sense. And the times of year I used, it makes zero sense. But these two, the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn, should be mirror opposites of each other. But yet over a 24-hour period, there would literally be 2,448 miles of a difference in sunrise, due to the difference in sunrise speeds. So that's a lot. Okay, so that is basically the data, and the reason I added in the last place, the reason I added in the last three was the Kolkata, the Mount Muscat, the Manado to Singapore, and the Caernarvon to Manakara, was because there's only between Kolkata and Muscat there's only a 4 meters elevation difference. There's only a 5 meters elevation difference between Manado and Singapore, and there's only a 6 meters elevation difference between Caernarvon and Manakara. So that definitely, that's why I added them in, because that way there's an example of places that are very similar in elevation, and yet there is still a difference. There's still a faster. That's 964, and this is 922. There's still over 40 miles an hour of a difference in the two solstices. But once I added them in, then with the other three that I gotten earlier, there was an average of 625 miles per hour, as opposed to up here, which is 727 miles per hour. If you look at these four places from place to place, from east to west, if this one I understand is 190 miles per hour, that's why that one worked out at. But if I use a different location, it might be somewhere that has a higher closer to this, so that will bring up that speed. But what I've noticed in my last presentation and this one, the only change has been that the equator speeds have shown to be faster than the Tropic of Cancer, but the Tropic of Cancer sunrise speeds are consistently faster than the Tropic of Capricorn sunrise speeds. And that doesn't make sense on the globe. It makes sense to the original, it makes sense, I can explain that on the original solar analemma, which is the flat earth analemma. That's explainable on that, simply because of the angle of the sun at the 21st of December solstice. The angle of the sun is moving at its fastest rate at that time of year. And that's not just me. This is, like, a lot of people don't realize this. This is not me saying this. I have links that show that talk about how the sun does appear to move faster. This is what they say. It appears to move faster across the sky in December 21st time, and slower across the sky on the June 21st time, and it's highest in the sky on June 21st and lowest in the sky on December 21st. And these are the facts. These are not me making them up. These are the facts. Anyone can find out if you just look hard enough. It's there. All the information is there. But what they then say is that, but it's actually us moving around the sun. But the original observations that Kepler made for his analemma was that he actually didn't need to make observations, because the analemma was already there a long time before Kepler, but it was based on a flat Earth. And what Kepler did is, because Kepler was, after adopting the Copernican model, which Tycho Brahe wasn't too happy about, but Kepler adopted the Copernican model and basically took Tycho Brahe's version of events and took the Copernican model and switched Tycho Brahe's version of events to the Copernican model, and then wrapped the Copernican model around the solar analemma, and that's what he did. At the time, Kepler would not have been able to observe anything but the sun, especially because it was the sun he was trying to show us going around. So he couldn't have observed. There was no point in observing anything else. What would be the point in looking for something else to observe when you have a big, huge sun in the sky to observe? You wouldn't observe anything else. But more than that, he didn't have the telescopes at the time to observe any better than that. The telescopes at the time, you would be lucky. Most of the time, he's accredited with his laws of motion being basically formulated and coming out in 1609. Now, there's other places that say it was between 1609 and 1619. So you're talking somewhere around 1614, right? But let's just say we give him the benefit of the doubt, and we say around 1614. In 1610, supposedly Galilei had the best telescope in the world. But this is only supposedly. Telescopes didn't come out. The first telescope wasn't patented until 1609 in Holland by a Dutchman named Lippershey. They were originally what's known as Dutch eyeglasses. Holland is a very flat place. I lived there myself. Holland is a very flat place, and so I can understand why there was such a thing as a kind of a small telescope, because you could see someone or something at a good distance in Holland, especially in the countryside. As they had such flat land. That's why they have the windmills in Holland, because you have a wind blowing across Holland, and it doesn't get blown. You don't get shelter from the wind in Holland because it's so flat. Most of Holland is just flat, and they're actually below sea level. I think overall, they're a bit like Maldives, but the first telescope didn't come out until 1609, and it was supposedly improved upon in 1610 by Galileo. But Galileo, if you look into him, is a very dodgy character. But he seems to have everything attributed to him. He seems to be just a day ahead of everyone with all these observations and inventions and everything else. But that's for a separate presentation. But so 1610, Galileo had a telescope that was good enough to see maybe a by 15. By 15, he was between by 10 and by 20 zoom. So you're talking about, let's say on average, by 15 zoom, right, in 1610. So how much better in 4 years if you want to even say that Kepler's laws of motion came out in 1614, because they very likely came out earlier than that, simply because that's what it stated, that he on a lot of websites that they came out in 1609. But let's say he did come out in 1614. Then how much better would telescopes have been? And even if he had the best telescope that was ever made, what would be the point in looking at somewhere else when he wanted to prove we went around the sun? And he was the first person that supposedly came up with a way of proving it, that we went around the sun. But he had to twist that around the original solar analemma, which is the flat Earth analemma. So basically, he took Tycho Brahe's geocentric model, and then he mutated that into the Copernican model. But then he had to make that happen. He had to, in between the Tycho Brahe model of things, or version of events, and Copernican model of events, or version of events, he had to, in between that, he had to wrap one around. He had to wrap the Tycho Brahe model around the Copernican model, and then wrap that around the original flat Earth solar analemma. Right now, I know I'm talking a lot on that, but it's important that people think, listen to what I'm saying there. Everything I'm saying there is correct. There is nothing I will be disproved on there. I have researched this. This is the correct. This is the truth. So that's why I'm saying that this can be explained on the flat Earth. The reason I'm saying that is the flat Earth solar analemma shows the slowest sunrise speed of the year is in the over the Tropic of Cancer on June 21st. Then it speeds up and widens. It speeds up and it widens its circle towards the it speeds up and widens the circle towards the equinoxes, and then it speeds up even more and widens the circle even more when it goes from the equinoxes to the December solstice. But what it also does is it's dropping in the sky. Its highest point in the sky is at the Tropic of Cancer on the June 21st, and its lowest point in the sky is around December 21st on across the Tropic of Capricorn. So that's why there's such a slow sunrise speed, because of the angle. If it was the speed of the sun, you would see I believe that you would see the sun speeding, going slowest at the Tropic of Cancer, faster then across the equator, and faster again across the Tropic of Capricorn. So that can be explained on the flat Earth with the solar analemma of a flat Earth, the original solar analemma. But I can't see a way around explaining that on the globe. How you can have different sunrise speeds on the globe, because I've used 4 different locations for each one. I've taken elevation into account. I've shown the elevations, and even in my original presentation, a lot of places were very similar in elevation. So I don't see how you can have three completely different sunrise speeds because even though in Kepler's analemma we're orbiting at different speeds around the sun in his analemma, but the rotation of the Earth is never changing. So it's the rotation that gives us the 24-hour day. And for a sunrise to change its speed, that would mean the rotation would have to change its speed. And that would be, if we were on a globe that was changing its rotation speed, it would be really obvious that it's, first of all, it would be very obvious we're on a thing that's moving, and then it would be very obvious that it's changing speeds. So I don't see how that's possible. Now, I have more. Kepler's analemma is actually disproved by Einstein's theory of relativity, but I'll go into that another time. But it's disproved by that. If anyone who understands the theory of relativity and understands what he was talking about, I don't agree with the man, but anyone who understands it and looks into Kepler's analemma, there's no way Kepler's analemma would work. But I went into that in my last presentation, where I spoke about how Kepler didn't add gravity into his analemma, because gravity as a thing wasn't even part of science at the time, because he was in his 30s before Isaac Newton was ever even born, and it wasn't until 100 years after Isaac Newton died that the Cavendish observation was done, and it was asserted then more than Newton that mass is attracting mass. But then Einstein, 100 years later, throws that out the window. So people say that we speed up when we're going around the sun because we're closer to it, so the gravity of the sun pulls us around faster. But that means mass is being affected by mass, which can't happen in the theory of relativity. It's not possible for that to happen, because the theory of relativity states, in its most basic form, it states that all gravity is not a force, it's only an effect caused by the distortion of space-time due to matter. So it's actually a localized effect. It's an effect on the matter. It's basically matter. In the basic way to explain it is matter distorts space-time and causes a gravity well around that matter. So the moon has its own gravity well, Earth has its own gravity well in the theory of relativity. And there is no mass attracting mass. And whatever gravity is that whatever effect of gravity that's happening, it's happening to the matter, and within that well, it's not happening outside. There is no gravity in space-time. Gravity doesn't exist in space-time. They use the word gravity with some of the other stuff they talk about in science, like gravitational lensing. And the word gravity comes in here and there. But in the theory of relativity, there is no gravity in space-time. There's only gravity within the well that's created by the distortion of space-time due to the matter. And obviously, the moon would have less matter than the Earth in that belief. So the moon would have a less gravitational strength of gravitational effect, right? Or maybe not. But that's kind of what's asserted by science. But then you're kind of going back to matter. You're kind of going back to the amount of matter equals the amount of gravity. And that wasn't exactly explained in the theory of relativity, that the different masses of matter will have more or less gravitational effect because of their size. Because the thing about that is what causes the effect is the distortion of space-time by that matter. So what does it matter? Sorry, pardon the pun, but what does it matter how much matter is there? If it's distorted space-time, then the effect of gravity is there. So do we have the effect, the Coriolis effect, different at different strengths just because of where it happens or how it happens? It doesn't matter. If it's an effect, it's just an effect. It works the same way all the time. An effect is only an effect. But either way, rather than going too far into the minutiae of that, in the theory of relativity, you do not have any gravity outside of that well. It's a localized effect, not a force, a localized effect. So the moon cannot be controlling Earth's tides. Even in Einstein's theory of relativity, the moon does not control Earth tides. The moon has no effect on the Earth, other than being a light in the sky. It doesn't have an effect. There's no gravitational effect between the two. There's no gravitational effect between the sun and the Earth. The moon is not in our gravity well. We're not in the sun's gravity well. All gravity is only an effect within the well that's created by that matter, and it's a localized effect on that matter. It's not outside of that. So there is no distortion in space-time between the moon's well and the Earth's well, or the Earth's well and the sun's well. That's space-time. There is no distortion there. So there's no distortion. There is no gravitational effect. So consequently, we cannot be getting pulled around the sun as Kepler asserted. We cannot be getting pulled around the sun faster and around the December, January time of year because we're closer to it, because of a gravitational pull. That's not how it works in the theory of relativity. That's more Newtonian, and that wasn't added in by Kepler, as it couldn't have been, because Kepler was in his 30s before Newton was ever born, and even Newton didn't assert that. That was just an idea he had, but it wasn't something that he asserted. He even said the opposite of that. So there is no way that it was other people added mass attracting mass into Kepler's analemma, and so, but there is no way that can happen. There is no way that can happen because Kepler didn't know about mass attracting mass, because that was a long time after his time. I think the Newton's Principia Mathematica, I think it's called, his main book, that came out. I think it was like Kepler would have been 117 or something when that came out, something like that. So I mean, Kepler had no grasp of gravity. It was other people added that in. And the same way as other people said that Isaac Newton said mass is attracting mass. When he didn't, it was an idea he came up with. It was something he played around with, but he didn't assert it. He even said as that famous letter to the philosopher, "Don't ascribe gravity to me." This is what he said. So other people are saying that there was mass attracting mass in Kepler's analemma. Other people are saying that Newton said that mass attracts mass. None of them two said any of those things. Other people added them in. But the theory of relativity proves that mass does not attract mass, or in that belief, mass does not attract mass, which completely debunks the idea that the Earth can be going around the sun, closer to the sun. Debunks the idea that because in Kepler's analemma we're closer to the sun, that we're getting pulled around faster by the gravitational force between the two. That debunks that, because we would have to be in the sun's well, and we went into the sun's well in the theory of relativity, then we would have just become part of the sun. There wouldn't be any of us in that scenario. So I just had to add those in because people will be. I said it in the last one as well. I talked about this in the last presentation as well, and people didn't listen. And I'm going to keep talking about it until someone listens. The moon is not controlling the tides on the Earth. Going by mainstream science, obviously I don't believe it on flat Earth anyway, but going by mainstream science, the moon can't be doing it by up-to-date mainstream science. And they're about to throw out the theory of relativity for quantum gravity. That's what they're looking to do now, if they can prove a graviton. I won't even go into that. But the mass attracting mass means, theory of relativity throws mass attracting mass out the window. which stops the moon being able to affect the Earth, and it also stops the Earth moving at a faster speed, going around the sun when it's closer to it, in that belief, in Kepler's analemma, because there is no gravitational effect between the two. Because the sun's gravitation is within its well, the Earth's gravitation is within its well. In between them is space-time. There is no distortion in the space-time. There is no matter. Right? Space-time is matter-free. There is no distortion, no matter. There is no gravity. That's how it works. So I'll go on from here and on to the next part. I have two things here that are pretty interesting. Right, this is what I call the solstice mystery. So I'll just go back up. Okay. Go back up here now there we go, where I said 1 hour behind, 1 hour ahead. Right, so Assumption is 1 hour behind solstice, and solstice is 1 hour ahead of Assumption. Right, now this is a bit of a mystery. This, I thought there was a problem, a glitch in the matrix on Google, and I checked it out, and I used different places, and it shows the same thing. Sort of mystery, where we got there. Okay, the distance between Assumption and solstice is 488 miles. Both Curitiba and solstice are, according to Google, 1 hour ahead of Assumption. Now, Curitiba, Brazil, is east of Assumption, Paraguay, by 522 miles, and solstice, Argentina, is west of Assumption, Paraguay, by 488 miles. So how can both Curitiba and solstice be 1 hour ahead of Assumption when one is east of Assumption and the other is west of Assumption? How is that possible? How can you have two places and a place in the middle, one east, one west, and yet both places, east and west of that place, are of the same time, are sitting at the same time, and they're both 1 hour ahead? That's basically what they're saying. So Assumption is in between both Curitiba and solstice, but yet Curitiba and solstice at the same time, or on the same time zone, and Assumption, which is in between the both of them, is an hour behind both of them. So how is this possible? Okay, so how can both Curitiba and solstice be 1 hour ahead of Assumption when one is east of Assumption and the other is west of Assumption? Curitiba obviously can be 1 hour ahead of, be 1 hour ahead of Assumption, Curitiba obviously can be 1 hour ahead of Assumption as it's east, but solstice should be 1 hour behind if it is west. But Google is claiming that solstice is also 1 hour ahead. So now there is an obvious elevation difference between Assumption and solstice, with Assumption being much lower than solstice, as Assumption is 43 meters elevation and solstice is 1,183 meters elevation. But you have to remember, we're supposed to be on a spinning globe, right? So there is an elevation difference, but there's also a difference in miles between the two places of 488 miles. So how can you have 488 miles between these two places, even though there's an elevation difference, and still have solstice being the same point at the same time as Curitiba, which is it must be, the bones are over 1,000 miles between the solstice and Curitiba, and with Assumption in between them. So I did some maths on this for the globe. So Assumption is 488 air miles east of solstice, and solstice is 488 air miles west of Assumption. Sorry, I meant to put in, that's right, Assumption, west of Assumption. So the globe's drop value is for 488 miles distance is 30.19 miles. So there should be a drop value of 30.19 miles for 488 miles distance. So there's 30.19 miles of drop value for any two places 488 miles apart on the globe. Okay, question mark. Right, this is the basics. So if we subtract Assumption's elevation of 43 meters above sea level from solstice's 1,183 meter elevation above sea level, we get 1,140 meters difference. So 1,140 meters converted to feet is 3,740.157 feet. So 3,740.157 feet is the difference in elevation between Assumption and solstice. Now 30.19 miles converted to feet is 159,403.199 feet. So one subtracted from the other is if you subtract the 159, take the sorry, 159,403.199 miles minus 3,740.157 feet. Sorry, feet minus feet. I'm getting myself on a start again. 159,403.199 feet minus 3,740.157 feet is 155,663.042 feet of a deficit. So there's 155,663.042 feet converted to miles is 29.481 miles. So to conclude, there is a deficit of 29.481 miles of a drop between a value drop between Asunción, Paraguay and Salta, Argentina at a distance of 488 miles apart, and them having a 1,140 meter difference in elevation. So this makes no sense whatsoever on a globe. So how can you be on a globe, have Asunción be an hour behind, an hour behind Salta, but Salta is west of Asunción by 488 miles. And there's still, even with taking the elevations into account, there's still over 29 miles of a drop unaccounted for. This is not possible. Now, how can Salta and Curitiba have the same sunrise time? So time is exactly the same. So if it's 12:15 now, if this was in Curitiba, if it was 12:15, it would be 12:15 in Salta, but it wouldn't be. It wouldn't be in Asunción, which is in between the two places. It would be 11:15. Okay, so that's just not possible on the globe. It's not possible to have a deficit of over 29 miles of drop that should be there. It's not possible to have that. So how is that possible? It's just not possible. That's it. There's no point in me asking the question. It's just not possible. You can't have two places that are the bones of 1,000. I just get the actual. One second now. Just open up the calculator. I get the actual distance between by adding them between Curitiba and Salta. Right. 1 second now. Now, let's move Randy over here. Okay. So let's go back up here. So 522 from Curitiba to Asunción, east to west, and then east to west again from Asunción to Salta, add 488 equals, right, 10,010 miles, right? Sorry, 1,010, sorry, 10,010, 1,010 miles. So there's 1,010 miles between Curitiba and Salta, and in between those two places, nearly in the middle of them, is Asunción. But Asunción is lower in elevation than both places. But that wouldn't matter on a globe, because I've just shown that there is no way that Salta can be an hour ahead of Asunción on the globe because of the drop value of 30.19 miles. And if you even add in the elevation difference, there's still over 29.481 miles. There's still over 29 miles of a drop value that's unaccounted for. You can't have that. But it does work on a flat Earth. Because on a flat Earth, at the time of year that I got, that I got those at, the sun is at its lowest in the sky. And it's coming from its furthest away because it's making its biggest circle in the sky. But it's also at its lowest, so its angle, right? Its angle will mean that it is possible for Curitiba and Salta to have sunrise at the same time, right? Because they would both be seen, because they're both at a high elevation. Because it's a bit like Curitiba and Asunción are a bit like the two tops of a valley, and Asunción is in the middle of Curitiba and Salta. So it is possible on a flat Earth for Curitiba and Salta to be actually 1 hour ahead of, if you go by the flat Earth, the original solar anima, it is possible for them to be 1 hour ahead of Asunción, because basically Asunción's sunrise is going to be, could very likely be, would be an hour behind Curitiba, but also the Salta would see the sun before Asunción. Because of the distance that the sun is coming, Salta would probably see the sun and get a sunrise before Asunción. But it's, even if people find that hard to get their heads around, it's a lot easier to get your head around than a missing 29.481 miles. How do you explain that? I don't see how that's explainable. How can you explain Salta and Curitiba having the same time, being in the same time zone, and a place in between them being an hour behind both of them? Right? And Curitiba is east, then there's Assumption, and then Salta is west. How do you work it out? I don't know how that's possible. I see this as just impossible. And I checked the distance from Gaborone to Curitiba, and the times, the difference in times from Gaborone to Salta, I think was it 5 hours or something like that, of sunrise difference, and it was the same. Gaborone to Curitiba, but it was the same when I did Gaborone to Salta. It was still the same. Google still said that Salta was still the exact same time behind Gaborone that Curitiba was. So both Curitiba and Salta are the same exact distance behind Gaborone in same exact distance behind Gaborone in sunrise time. So that's not possible. That's just not possible. It's not possible for Google to be making. I don't think it's possible that Google could be making that big of a mistake. And this is not possible on a globe that there's 29 miles of a drop, 29.481 miles of a drop value, just not there. I don't see how that's possible. I don't know. Someone can come back to me on this spot. This to me is just a killer for the globe. If it does turn out that Google is definitely asserting that Salta and Curitiba are on the same time zone, and Assumption is an hour behind both, even though Assumption's in between both. And I've just proven that the elevation has nothing to do with it, because I've just proven the elevation has nothing to do with it. So I added in the elevation. So, and you're still left with over 29 miles. So I don't know how you want to explain that, Globos. I really don't. So something else as well, right? Manado to Singapore, there is no time difference. Now, Manado, Indonesia, and Singapore, Malaysia have no time difference and are at a distance from each other of 1,453 miles. And Curitiba, Brazil, and Assumption, Paraguay have a difference of 1 hour in their time, with Curitiba being 1 hour ahead of Assumption, and they are at a distance apart of only 522 miles. So, how can there be no time difference between Manado, Indonesia, and Singapore, Malaysia, at a distance of 1,453 miles, while there is a supposed distance of just 522 miles between Curitiba and Assumption, and they have a time difference of 1 hour. So if we subtract 522 miles from 1,453 miles, we get 933 miles. So there is a distance deficit of 933 miles between them. So how is it possible? So how is it possible that we have such a difference in distance of 1,453 miles, such a difference in distance of 1,453 miles, and no time difference, yet it is 522 miles, and we have a time difference of 1 hour. How is that possible? Now, I didn't even work that out on globe or flat. That's just, how is that possible? That's kind of the end of the presentation. Just something I wanted to put in, because that's what Google is telling me, that there's no time difference. There's 1,453 miles of a difference between Indonesia and between Manado, Indonesia, and Singapore, Malaysia, and between Curitiba and Assumption, there's 522 miles of a difference, and there's 1 hour of a difference in 1 hour difference in 1 hour difference in time. So I don't know. That's just a question for the internet. See if you can work that one out. I don't know what's going on there. I haven't thought about it. I didn't give it thought about how it will work with the flat earth or the globe earth. Just that doesn't make any sense to me. Okay, that's the end of that. That's the end of the presentation. Randy, are you there?
I certainly am.
So
I got a little bit of feedback there, but it's all good. It's all good.
Could I just go on mute for a second? I just have to check something. I think one of my relatives here choking in the kitchen there. Just,
well, yeah, you better run. Yeah. Go.
I'll come back.
Well, seeing as Brian's family members choking to death in the kitchen right there. I think it's about a good time to wrap this one up, I would say. Right, well, thanks very much, Brian. I will continue to talk to him when he gets back, or if he's here now. Hang on one sec. He's still busy. He's still busy. So, I wanted to share something with you guys. I'm going to have to take that out, it's too loud. Yeah, I wanted to share something with you here, guys. Have a look at this for a image. So this is from metro.co.uk. It says, NASA wants to probe deep into Uranus in search of smelly gas. Wow, that's pretty funny. Yeah, Brian, yep, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Sorry, I put it on the mute.
It's alright, I'll put you on mute eventually. So
that's great, thanks.
It's all good. So, is he alive? He's not died and choked, has he?
No, my uncle, he gets bad reflux, and he got hiccups and reflux at the same time. So I didn't know. I thought there was a fight outside my door. That's what it sounded like. And I was talking in the same time, and I could hear the stuff going on. And then I heard something going on in the kitchen, and I thought it was just a coughing fit. Then it sounded like someone was choking towards the end, and I said, I better find out what's going on here. You know, the fight outside the door, you'd often hear that with young lads, they'd be fighting and stuff. But the choking, you wouldn't hear too much of that. You know,
all I'll say is that I'm glad that nobody actually died whilst you were doing your presentation.
yeah, that would have been a bad buzz, all right.
That's funny.
And the amount of time I could hear noises without pinpointing what it was, he definitely would have died. I think he definitely would have died if he wasn't. Because I was still busy talking about Curitiba and Assumption and everywhere else, and he would have been choking inside in the kitchen. So a lot of help I would have been to him.
Well, you can't miss your presentation, mate. You can't stop that.
You can't miss your presentation. Jesus, everything.
Flat Earth comes first, definitely.
Yeah, Flat Earth comes first, exactly. Yeah.
Well, all I'll say is, Brad, thanks for the presentation. I'm glad that you addressed some of the points. There's a couple of points that I was happy that you addressed. So that's all good too. So yeah, I mean it was very interesting with the elevation stuff that you actually chose places that have a very similar elevation. You know, a few meters above sea level. It's nothing. So I'm glad that you actually addressed that. And I'd be interested to see what the people that watch this and can get back to you and leave a comment, and hopefully this might help to move things along in that particular subject. So thank you very much for stopping by and doing that.
Thanks for having me on. Thanks for having me on the show. I always enjoy coming on. It's a good platform for me to bring presentations forward. I wish more people would bring them on, because it seems like I'm on for 3 presentations, and then someone else comes on and does a presentation. Then I have 3 presentations. You know, it's like other people need to start bringing presentations forward. You know, because otherwise it's going to be just me and maybe 1 or 2 other people, and there should be a lot more people presenting. You know, there's a lot of stuff to present out there if you want, that kind of way. You know.
Yeah. Well, all I'll say is, I can't agree more, to be honest. You know, the presentations, I do have people waiting to do presentations. They are working on stuff, but there's nothing immediately to go. So if anybody is out there with presentations, email me, ranty@rantyflatearth.com, or send me a message or Skype me. You know, check me out, find me on Skype, Ranty Flat Earth, dead easy. Send me a message, make me try and contact me somehow, and you know, if you've got a presentation that you want to talk about, I'll show it. You know, it's as simple as that.
Yeah, I'm actually working on 2 others at the moment as well, so hopefully some other people will come in before I get to bring them forward. One is about the speed of light, and one is about speed of the sun. But we're not going to have them done for another week or 2 anyway. But I'd say on tonight's one there will be. I don't know whether I'll get comments. I'd like for people to research the thing about Salta and Curitiba. The fact that 2 of them are at the same time in the same time zone. Yet Assumption, which is in between the 2 of them, by nearly in between, or just over 1,000 miles apart, and Assumption is somewhere close to, let's say, an average of nearly midway between the 2, and that is an hour behind both of them. So how does that work? And I just showed it there. How does that work on the globe? I'm sure people have something to say about that, because there's a 9 mile drop deficit there that is not accounted for. Maybe some of the stuff I said about Einstein and the theory of relativity and that, someone might have something to say about that, but they better know their stuff. That's all I'll say to them. Concerning that, and concerning Kepler's analemma and Newton as well. Because the problem is, as you know yourself, a lot of people out there are kind of switching from Einsteinian gravity to Newtonian gravity as it suits them in their arguments, and you can't do that, that kind of way. And they're asserting things like Kepler's analemma, and they're asserting mass attracting mass gravity in that, which is not the current belief. And even, as I said, the Einsteinian gravity is about to get thrown out the window as well, as it was kind of disproven up to a point by quantum mechanics, I think it was, and they are now trying to bring in the new one, which is quantum gravity, which is a graviton, which is no mass. Gravitons have no mass, and they move instantaneous, right? How are they going to, you know what I mean? How can you prove or disprove that? So that's the new one that's on the way. So, and they're turning it into a fundamental force. Gravity's been turned into a fundamental force with the graviton. So it's back to it being a force of some kind. So,
well, can't wait to see what you've got to come in the future. I do enjoy your presentations. I know they're long, but they're certainly not short of research. So
yeah. I mean, they're mostly data, because I don't have a whole lot of skills when it comes to 3D modeling and all this kind of stuff. So it's mostly just data, facts and figures, So, but that's where it is. That's what you have to do in it, yourself. There's no other way of proving something than getting the data. Just like you did with the observations, you have to go out and get the data. Otherwise, you just have one photograph every now and again. So,
right. Okay. Well, I think I'm going to wrap this one up. So, if you want to leave the call here, Brian, I'll finish up and then I'll join you in a sec. All right. I'll phone you back.
Yeah, on the board. Talk to you later. Thanks. Bye.
Bye. So, that was Brian, obviously. I was presenting something back then. I am sorry, because it distracted me having him, here we go, let me transition that across. With all that commotion going on in the background, it was so loud I couldn't concentrate on what I was saying. But I saw this post, I think D Marble put it on his Facebook status, and I just thought I'd share it with you because I think it's hilarious. So NASA wants to probe deep into Uranus in search of smelly gas. It has to be the title of the year. Seriously, this Rob Woe guy, who actually made this title. I mean, it is. I mean, you can read the article because it is absolutely. It's right on the nail. It really. If you believe in all that stuff, if you believe that we can go up to see these planets and get there and send probes up there, by all means read through this. I'm sure you'll have a good laugh, but the title itself was just so hysterically funny. Oh man, that's made me giggle all night, I tell you. Anyway, so that will do for today. So that was Brian. I'm not sure what else to talk about, except for obviously this is going to be a premiere because of the internet issues that I've got at the moment. I'm hoping they'll be sorted out pretty quickly, hopefully by the end of the week, but it's all down to Sky and OpenReach apparently, because it all depends on whether they can get the connection in the box apparently, but we'll see. I'm sure it'll be fine. So yeah, that'll do for this particular presentation, and hopefully I'll see you soon, and I'll see you all in the next one.